G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildcard. Wallabies versus England. My reaction is the Eddie Jones face. Not happy, but England did deserve this win. Despite them having missing out a number of their really huge players in the forward pack, like Maro Itoje and Tom Curry, they really the core players really stepped up, and that championship quality of these players really showed this game. And yeah, how really in those critical moments, England won the contest and won the game with just a few players' individual performances. It's literally one of those things. So big performance today by Courtney Lawes, the captain. He was so damn good in the second half. Like, unbelievable. I've never seen him play this well. He's the captain, put the team on his shoulders, and the amount of turnovers that England needed under the pressure when the Wallabies tried to score a try in the last like 10 or 15 minutes or so, he's just there every time, stopping you again and again. Ah, man, Courtney Lawes so good. That line out as well, he gets the ball every time. And he's so good at the line outs. The Wallabies can't challenge it. You know it's going to Courtney Lawes every time. And he just easily gets the ball unchallenged again and again. He's just so damn good. And also, in the first half, the guy with the best Eddie Jones impression, a lot better than mine, Billy Vunipola. This man, he has been relegated from the England side for a year. He only made a return for this tour to Australia. And that first half, man, Jesus Christ. He talk about, championship quality. Eddie Jones always talked about how much he likes Billy Vunipola. And, his form wasn't really in form for about a year. He really showed why Eddie Jones once considered him one of the best players in the England team. In that first half, England was under the pump. Australia clearly had the ascendancy, and Billy Vunipola recognized the situation, was able to stymie Australia again and again, add the breakdown, getting the turnover, getting the penalties for England. So despite Australia was completely controlling the first half for the most of it, England was winning 11 points to 10 because Billy Vunipola was able to just dominate the breakdown again and again. It was unbelievable how good he was. Just super championship quality showing there. And then also the England front rowers really goddamn impressive today. I have, ever since Sinclair was left out, I was a little bit worried for the England's scrummaging and the England front rowers. But man, Luke Cowan-Dickie, Ellis Genge, Stewart, and even Jamie George, all of these guys showed another level today. Especially Ellis Genge and Luke Cowan-Dickie, the physicality these two guys brought. I have not seen England side with this sort of physicality out of a four pack for I can't even remember. I honestly, if you ask me when was the last time England had a front rowers with this sort of physicality, this sort of dominance in collision dominance, I would have said England 2013 or something. Oh no, 2003, like 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, right? Ellis Genge was able to run over, what is his name? Samu Karevi. Yeah, the most physical guy, the most physically dominant guy in the Wallaby side. He just runs him over like a little kid. Luke Cowan-Dickie as well, just huge belting running. Like, there's been kind of like a shift in rugby these days where the props are expected to, do a lot of passes, a lot of quick hand, good handling of the balls, running angles. No, these guys, they get the ball, they don't really pass. They just run straight at you. They don't step you. They just maul you over with that physicality. It's just that simple. They wear you down. They do what they do. They don't try to score tries. Tanela Tupou did exactly the opposite. Try to do too many tricky stuff. Thrown way too many passes that probably should not have been thrown. Ellis Genji, Luke Cowan, Dickey, they get the ball. They knew exactly what they're there to do. They're there to run at you, mow you down, and wear you out. And that's exactly what they did. They worn out the Australian pack for when they were on the field. And you showed that Wallabies looked tired in the second half. And that England side was able to just close it out for the win. Obviously, England backline, two players that really stood out. One is Freddy Stewart. He looked like he's put on size because in the Six Nations, Freddy Stewart just looked really kind of tall and lanky almost. Today, he looked big. He looked physically dominant. Like in the air, he's able to like literally rip the ball from the opposition, from the Australian side, under those high balls. He is really like he doesn't just catch the ball, right? He rips the ball out of the opposition player whilst catching it. It's just unbelievably physical and just so safe. It's almost like he's got glue or something on his hand, and when he's catching those high balls, I'm really impressed by this guy. And another one, again, future of England rugby, Marcus Smith. Man, he showed again a lot of flair on the field. He scooped up a loose ball from a Wallabies line out to send England that final try, putting England, ahead for finally the win. He shot that as well. Owen Farrell's the kicking game has been pretty poor for both teams. Maybe there was a bit windy in the cricket ground because there's wind swirling around a bit. Both teams are struggling with the kicking. The Wallabies in the first half probably should have scored more points. Especially how did England come out of the first half? 11 points to 10? I don't know. Or the Wallabies had so many missed passes in the first half, just random little knock-ons. They really should have been further up in the scoreboard. There were so many, Rhys Hodge threw a ball into the referee on the sideline. Tupou threw a few passes that should not have been thrown, and there was at least 3 opportunities in the first half that could have been a tries if the ball had just gone to hand for the Wallabies. So really, really, really painful. One guy did have a good game, was Tom Wright. He did score a try for the Wallabies, and he had did some really real damage down the sideline when he did get the ball as well. Rhys Hodge, his return to the Wallabies, this was a really bad one. Like I said, the wind might have something to do with it. His kicking was not very good. His general field kicking was not very good. And also, he just really looked a bit out of place, to be honest, on the field. And England may have identified that a bit. So I was really worried because he did look like they were sending Freddy Stewart to target Rhys Hodge for a bit. And Freddy Stewart was just like dominating. Yeah, essentially dominated the high balls, but that only worked. They only did that like a couple times for the England side. Hodgie had a pretty tough day today. So, with that being said, I do think England truly deserved this win. That was some really, really impressive individual performances by the big names from the England side. Players stepping up, making that difference, making that 4-pack, bringing in that physicality, and once again, the Wallabies. Yeah, nobody really was able to step up this game, to be fair. So, let's have a look at the match stats. You can see the Wallabies, way more run meters than England, 506, the England 361. How England was able to win this, man. At halftime, Wallabies was leading 557 run meters to England's 130. Defenders beaten at halftime. Wallabies beaten 17 defenders. Yeah. England only beaten 5 defenders halftime. So Wallabies was dominant in halftime and second half as well. 29 defenders beaten overall, so fewer defenders beaten a second half. But man, 17 defenders beaten for Australian side. England did manage to beat a few players in the second half. 12 players for England beaten and defenders beaten for England. So how Australia was losing 10 points to 11 at halftime, I do not know. Obviously Billy Vunipola did his work. Really stifling a lot of the Australian breakdowns there. So another thing was the turnovers. At halftime, only 6 turnovers for both teams. So Wallabies conceded more turnovers in the second half. England only conceded 1 turnover. Much tidier game in the second half of the England. Tackle count. So England tackle count was really poor as well at halftime. So England only made 39 tackles and they missed 17. Yeah. Like almost half of England's tackles were missed, percentage-wise. Well, not almost half, but if you would, Anyway, Australia 35 tackles made, only missed 5. And England second half, as you can see, only missed England missed 11 tackles in the second half, whereas Australia missed 12 tackles. No, sorry, England missed 12 tackles, Australia missed 12 tackles in the second half. So much better England, but not great for both teams for that second half performance. Kickings in play, England did win this battle as well, 26 kicks to 7. And at, what was the kicking count at half time? I think the kicking count at half time was 6 apiece. So really the kicking game picked up as well in the second half, and England was able to control that. Goal kicking was a bit of a struggle for Owen Farrell. Not a lot of Seal did miss one, a bit of windy one, but overall slightly better than the England position. And yeah, so lineouts pretty even overall. One England lineout was lost. Scrum pretty even overall. Penalties 10 against Australia, 11 against England. Again, not too much of an advantage there. So yeah, the first half really slipped away for Australia. We should have had a bit more points on the board, and England was able to really, man, I just unbelievable. Like super human performances by some of these England players. Really impressive, and respect to that, man. Respect to that performance. You gotta respect that. So let's go through some of the key points, key moments in the game. So 5 minutes into the game, Australia was actually showing really good intensity. Unlike the last test, there's an urgency out of the Aussie team to start off strong, which they did. It was on like an early charge down by Nick Frost, who making his debut today at the starting spot. And no, he's not debut. He's debuting at the starting. He played like last week off the bench. So he gets a charge down early. Australia was actually put on quite a bit of sustained pressure, but just not able to get clinically executed. It was just like bit of a loose balls here and there. But eventually Australia was able to get an opportunity for 3 points on the 5-minute mark to kick it. Noah Lolesio misses this one. Look a bit wobbly the ball. Maybe like the wind. Clearly there's a bit of wind going on there. 6 minutes into the game, Owen Farrell, following this missed kick, Owen Farrell tried to do a 22-minute dropout, and he kicks out on the full. So clearly there's some kind of wind going on, because Owen Farrell don't really miss that kind of drop kicks very often, so it misses that as well. And so this leads to a scrum for Wallabies on the 22-minute mark. The scrum comes out. They try to spread ball out wide. Rhys Hodge had like one player, I think had Tom Wright out wide. He throws the pass straight to the touch judge. Yeah, this looked like this could have been a scoring opportunity as well, because Tom Wright did look like he had a bit of space to work with out wide. On the 10th minute, Daniela Tupou showed a bit of hard running, bit of physicality. He runs straight through, gets a nice little pass from Jem Slipper. He runs straight through, and then he tries to push that just past a little bit more than he probably should to Frost, and drops the ball. Nick Frost drops the ball. On the 11th minute, a scrum penalty goes to England, so England is showing. So Australia was being penalised quite a bit for early push in the scrum. It did not look like England had clear scrum advantage. It just looked like there's a bit of a timing issue from the Australian side. And then only at this point, I think about 12 minutes into the game, the commentators mentioned the stat Australia already had 3 drop balls in less than 10 minutes. On the 14th minute, the Australia was running the ball again, trying to inside the England half, a missed pass to Jamie George. Yeah, on the 16th minute, despite the fact that Australia were having most of the dominance for the first 15 minutes or so, on the 16th minute, England was able to get himself in the front foot. Marcus Smith gets the ball, little shimmy, cut out pass out wide, sending the the new guy, Poffley is the number 9. Yeah, he sends out wide to the winger. I can't remember his name. Let's get his name up. What's his name? Oh yeah, Tommy Freeman, and he runs down the sideline, and England suddenly in a really good position inside the Australian half. And then following this, England gets a penalty for offside, and yeah, England actually gets the first point on board despite just being under the pump for 15 minutes. 3 points to nil, England up ahead. So Rhys Hodge was having a bit of a shocking day. He had one good kick here, showing a bit of confidence. But yeah, he basically had one good kick basically in the first half, I feel like, and then he started struggling again. A lot of he looked quite out of place for most of the part of the game. On the 22nd minute, England was getting a bit of ascendancy. It looked like they have identified Rhys Hodge as one of the players that could be exploited A few high balls has been kicked to Rhys Hodge and been pressured a lot. And Rhys Hodge is struggling under those high balls a little bit. England's goalkeeper, Freddy Stewart, really doing a great job under those high balls. Super safe, super impressive. And beating Rhys Hodge to the punch there. But luckily, Micah Hooper was really, showed a bit of a captaincy skills, getting a crucial turnover penalty for Australia, despite the high balls. That was clearly giving England a bit of an advantage. On the 25th minute, following that, turnover by Hooper, the Wallabies gets themselves in a position of a line out. The ball comes down. They just nice little loop play behind. They managed to spread ball out wide to Tom Wright. Tom Wright finds himself in space, runs down the sideline. He throws the ball in field to Nick White. And then Nick White draws the fullback, throws the ball back out to Tom Wright. Wright runs in for the first try for the Wallabies. Finally, the Wallabies get some points after such a long dominance in the first half. 5 points to 3 for the Wallabies. Nolasu misses this kick, the only kick of the game. On the 30th minute, there was Billy Vunipola recognized the situation, started to really lift his performance. He looked like Wallabies were inside the England's 22. It looked like he got a turnover, but the referee says he may have made a wrong decision. The referee says he did not release, which in the replay show he did release the tackle. But anyway, Billy Vunipola also gave the best Eddie Jones impression that I've ever seen. After hearing that he did not get the turn, he got penalized for not releasing. He was like, "What?" Yeah, like that. Anyway, So despite that little hiccup for Billy, Wallabies gets a kick to 3. So basically, Billy, showed his championship qualities. He, instead of just giving up, he kept on pressuring the breakdown, and 2 minutes later, England inside Australia half. Billy Vunipola, exact same situation, gets into the breakdown, and this time the referee saw the clear release and gets a turnover penalty. England gets a immediately return 3 points opportunity, and Billy looks fired up. England kicks for 3. England back 6 points to 10. Billy immediately earns himself back that 3 points that he lost. At this point, Samuel Karevi starting to look a little bit flat on his running lines. He was not really able to get over the advantage line like he's used to. England was able to target him a little bit and shutting down his running game. On the 36th minute, again, the Australians were trying to run the ball out of their own 22. Tupou gets the ball, did a no-look backflip to Jem Slipper, who did not expect this, drops the ball. Yeah, and suddenly this is looking like a scoring opportunity for England with a 22-meter centre field scrum for England. And so England gets the 22-meter scrum. They get the ball out. They run a number of phases. Wallabies gets a, what is it called? So with the knock on, England gets a scrum, right? Wallabies gets penalised right away for early pushing the scrum. So England opts to kick for 3. This was an easy kick. Owen Farrell misses this one. So still 10 points to 6, 36th minute. So the Wallabies, again, just before half-time, about 38 minutes or so, decides to run the ball out of their own half again. And Courtney Laws showed his championship qualities. Wraps up Nick White, turns over the ball. So England goes for a line-out just for half-time. So the line-out comes in, they go for a line-out drive. Got really close, did not go over. England pick and go, gets a penalty advantage. They try to spread out wide. It looked like the England number 11 should have scored. He tried to reach out, right? He looked at his runs through the space, he tried to reach out. And Tom Wright makes the tackle, and it looked like he was able to reach out to score the try. But Tom Wright, whilst literally on the ground, stuck his leg up and he stopped him from reaching over. And then he had to basically get tackled and release the ball. He was literally looked like Tom Wright stopped him with the foot up in the air. It was one of the most weirdest thing. Surely I thought he could have reached for a try. But yeah, so Tom Wright saves the try, but that was not enough. England kept applying the pressure. The ball comes out. They pass the ball to short side again. Freddy Stewart gets the ball in the win. Jumps into the corner for the try. Suddenly, half time, despite Wallabies pretty much dominating most of the half, England's winning 11 points to 10. So second half starts, right? The Wallabies started, again, pretty good, building a lot of pressure early. Harry Wilson losing his discipline a little bit early in the game, taking out Billy Vunipola from the side, gets a penalty. And again, there was a bit of a kicking game going around, and Freddy Stewart showing his qualities, able to win those contests in the air again and again and again. And it was just looking like such a bad idea for the Wallabies to play the kicking game with how dominant Freddy Stewart is on the field. On the 45th minute, Noah Lolesio basically drops the ball, and from a high ball by Owen Farrell, he was under a little bit of pressure. Not really, yeah, he was under a bit of pressure. Again, just that pressure from like Stewart. So he drops the ball. Owen Farrell recovers it, grab a kick behind, 5 meter, kicks the ball 5 meters out from the Australian sideline, and what is it? A really good kick. Yeah, he kicks the ball off a 5 meter sideline, and the Wallabies has to do a clearance kick from this line out, from the 5 meter line out. They kick the ball out, so England has a line out just outside the 22. Matt Phillip done a really good job to steal one of the England lineouts here, so that was really, really good. But then again, the England's reserves are coming on. Just the England 4-pack, just like, Luke Cowan-Dickie started coming on the field, really starting to show that physicality. This is just before Ellis Genge went off the field. He ran over Samuel Karevi as well. So yeah, the England front row was really showing their physicality. On the 48th minute, there was a penalty for the England right in from Ellis Genge, just from some hard running, being able to create a penalty opportunity for England. So England kicks this one, 10 points to 14. And yeah, on the 55th minute into the game, the Wallabies had an opportunity for a line out. They were, I think, like quite far, like 60 meters out from England, like inside England half actually. So just inside the England half, they throw a line out. The line out gets overthrown. Noah Lolesio runs in to try to pick it up. He kind of misses the ball. The ball ricochets off his body. Marcus Smith runs up, scoops it up, bolts down the field, turns on the jet shoots, bolts down the field, 50 meters, try time. He was pumped. He throws the ball into the crowd, starts screaming. Man, like nobody could catch him, showed his qualities there. Suddenly England's up 21 points to 10. Yeah, Owen Farrell, at this point, yeah, someone off the screen, a fan was screaming, Owen Farrell is a fucking, and then they cut off the sound. Oh, I really wanted to know, Owen Farrell's a fucking what? Oh man, so it cut off the sound. They realized they had the microphone sitting somewhere like next to a fan or something, and someone was just like screaming into the microphone, Owen Farrell is fucking, and it got cut off. That was pretty funny. On the 58th minute, Piff Samuel gets on the field, brings some really needed physicality for the Wallabies side. Immediately gets a turnover on the breakdown, and Wallabies had an opportunity here to kick for 3, but they go for a try, which is the right decision. They were quite far behind to go for 3 points. So they kick the ball out for a line out. England defends the maul. Wallabies pick and go. England gets caught offside penalty, and Wallabies cannot break the England's pack defense. Finally, it took Wallabies another opportunity to go for another penalty. They kick the ball out, set up a maul. The maul gets collapsed. England gets penalised for collapsing the maul illegally. The ball comes out. Faenga gets the ball, short ball, bolts himself through, crashes through for the second try for the Wallabies. The score ticks up to 17 points to 21 with 15 minutes left on the clock. And the last 15 minutes, the championship rounds, Courtney Lawes absolutely won the game for England for the last 15 minutes. This was just like unbelievable from Courtney Lawes. So basically, on the 59th minute, Courtney Lawes was in line out, just tidying up the line outs from the England side. The Australian couldn't even challenge the England line out. So basically, Australia was trying to like pressure England to do defensive lineouts. The Sama Karevi got the ball. He kicked the ball into the England's 5 meters. So the England has to do a 5 meter lineout defensive. And Courtney Law is just like, yeah, jumps up, catches the ball. Australia couldn't even contest. It was just so good. On the 72-minute, Courtney Laws gets a breakdown turnover. And Tom Wright is playing really well, making a lot of meters throughout the game. But just, not able to link up with the Wallabies. He makes a nice little run down the sideline around the 74-minute mark or so. On the 75th mark, there was more pressure from the Wallabies inside the England half. Just piling on pressure. 18 phases. The Wallabies running 5 meters short from the England try line. Luke Cow and Dickey gets the turnover for England. And England and he's literally screaming his head off. And on the 77th minute, Vunivalu is on the field. And I don't think he even I think he touched the ball once. Maybe not even once. Again, England's lineout was just spectacular. Wallaby seems to be in the last 3 minutes or so, Wallaby seems to wanted to target England's defensive lineout by pinning England inside their own half to try to steal the lineout. But Courtney Laws, man, just so good, so safe. The way he's able to timing his jump is really difficult for the Wallabies to read. So again and again, the Courtney Laws was able to just get up in the air and secure their own ball before the Wallabies can even react to the jump. So the whole strategy of the Wallabies trying to ping the England into that into the half, inside the 22 with the offensive liner, defensive liner, not working because how good Courtney Laws was. On the 78th minute, Courtney Laws forces another turnover, the breakdown, so good. And he was just before the end of the game, he was able to basically turn the ball over and set the Wallabies up inside the Wallabies half following England's kick. And then he's able to carry the ball forward as well, getting the England in a position to score a try just before full time. Some really good carry by Laws, after turning the ball over. So just doing double shift duties there as well. And then eventually the England side was, not able to win the game. The Wallabies I think England gets over the try line, but it was held up. So Wallabies had to do a goal line dropout. It took a bit too long. They had about 20 seconds to do the goal line dropout. It took a bit too long for the Wallabies to set up. So when it did the dropout, there was only 5 seconds or something left on the clock. They do a dropout, short dropout. Wallabies, England secured the ball, but the Wallabies was able to wrap England up at the breakdown. So the ball was essentially sealed off, wasn't coming out. So it was actually a turnover for the Wallabies. But the siren goes off just before the referee gives over the turnover penalty. And the game was over. No scrum for the Wallabies. And England wins the game 21 points to 17. Deserved win. This was a really good performance by England. And Eddie Jones will be very proud of some of their new players, some of the young players. Really showed a lot of talent. And handled the pressure quite well. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. And did you enjoy this game? Thank you for watching this video, guys. Yada, yada, yada. Like, comment, and subscribe. Another win for the Northerners. So, I think Australian rugby and New Zealand rugby were in a bit of trouble here, guys. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you guys a bit later for the Springboks game. Cheers.